Good morning, Lisa.
Oh, good afternoon, Nate.
How are you doing?
Great. So good. Got the
Good.
thought
Well,
on.
I've got a fun topic for you today because a lot of what's been hitting my feed in the last, I would say, a couple of weeks, but something you and I have experienced personally that I really wanted to hone in on is the importance of getting in the right rooms for people for growth, whether that's leadership, whether that's your own small business, whether that's developing personal skill sets, but not just getting in the rooms, being intentional about the rooms you're trying to get in. Because I see a lot of people say things like, hey, whatever amount of money to get in the rooms. And it's like, okay, well, that's great. You can pay a lot of money to get in rooms. And you and I have even been in rooms that haven't necessarily panned out. So I wanted to
Right.
talk about the intentionality of what it takes to get in those rooms, what thought processes, what you look for, what experiences, all that good stuff that it takes. And I think you've had some good success in this area.
Okay, success. No, I think when it comes to getting in the right rooms, I think there's two things that really hold people up. And one of them, they don't feel like they can be in the room, or if they get in the room, they're going to be an imposter because whatever skill set or level that they are wanting to go and engage in, and that could be as a business owner, it could be in your professional career, it could be in your personal career or in your physical fitness career. There's something about us that holds us back because we think everybody knows that we don't fit or we haven't met the minimum like threshold criteria, whatever it is. So I think that's the first hurdle that people need to get over. Before they have to get over it, they have to understand which rooms they want to get into and why. Part of that why can't just be self-serving. So the whole intention of finding rooms is, yes, you want to grow and learn new skills or connect with people that maybe you haven't, but spend time thinking about what you can in turn give back. Maybe you're joining a room where you hold valuable experience that most other people might not. And for an example is I can talk about like in my professional career, my corporate career, very few people that I come across have also started and opened a business. So that's something that maybe I can bring to the table. Like, here's what it looks like in our corporate structure. Here's some things I've seen, from a small business perspective or having to be down and dirty and get things done on a limited dime. So understanding where you want to get into, why you want to get there, and what you actually can bring to the table that's going to improve the lives or the experience of others in that room.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of different levels of rooms too. And I think that's really
Yeah.
important. And the people, there are low level rooms as an example where, a lot of coaches, I'm going to get you into my room. I'm going to get you in really
Yeah.
free. And I think that works for some people. I don't want to shit on that all the time, but I think that's like the easiest level of, hey, I'm starting this out. Come join us, get in our room. We're going to teach you all this stuff. Then you get hey, you get founders that have been in this for a long time. They have robust skill sets. They are teaching people how to become leaders and grow their own businesses. And that's a different skill set than things that are very individualistic. And then finally, you to really high end stuff. And this is people that charge, anywhere from probably, let's say, 2,000 to 100,000 either a day or an hour. Like we've all seen these people. I have a good friend that paid somebody, I think it was $2,000 or $4,000 for 18 minutes of his time. And I just asked, what did you learn? And the answer was not a lot. And so, you can spend money pretty quickly, but I think the rooms are extremely important to your point based on what you're trying to do. If you're just starting out in business, my personal opinion is you don't need to be in these high end rooms. I think it's
No.
great that you can meet the people, that you can, rub shoulders with all those people. You can pay. People will take your money to get in there. But are you going to actually be able to learn those skill sets and then apply them in your own life? And if the answer to that is probably not, I'm not at the point in my professional career or my business journey where I can take those nuggets, I can implement that immediately, then you might want to consider a lower ranking room. And ranking just means probably cost. Maybe it's a little bit bigger of a room by people that are, in a similar position as you and where you're at in your own journey.
Yeah. I think there's also I have two thoughts. One, the ranking of the room, yes, might be like, how much do I pay to be a part of it? Is it a free community to join? Is it cost me $100,000 for 30 minutes of this individual's time? And then I also think of rooms in terms of exclusivity. There we go. So people that are in those rooms, yes, maybe they're all paying together, but the criteria to join is much tighter
Yeah.
and it's more guarded than, let's say, some of the other rooms. And there might even be some that the cost is exactly the
Yeah.
same, but the people that are in certain ones are more protected of who they let in. And so I think that's important to assess. To your point, I think people try to jump for the top, assuming that if I pay the most to play, I'm going to get the most benefit. And that tends to be the times when people actually get the least amount of benefit because they haven't asked the right questions to get started of people that can help them who are more still in the weeds doing the day to day. Maybe it's a mentor that you want to start with. Hey, I know you're 5 more years in business than I am. We're in similar industries. Can we meet once a quarter and just talk? And then preparing for that talk. So that's the other part of it. I think people pay to play without doing the prep work and thinking about what they actually want to get out of it and what questions to ask to make sure that they're getting useful answers. It's like we show up, we pay and we show up and we're like, great, bestow on me all your knowledge and your experience. And they're like, well, what do you want to know? And it takes you the entire time to get to one thing.
Yeah, and there's, that brings up two thoughts for me. One, I see this a lot because you in particular are a part of one of the groups that I am, and then I have another entrepreneurship small business group that I'm a part of, and I've been a part of that for a couple of years, and I think they're both very valuable. But one of the things that I see continuously is people in these groups tend to be guarded because a lot of people come in and they're like, "Ooh, this group has 3,000 people in it. Great leads. I'm just going to come in and I'm going to start reaching out to everybody and selling them." In fact, I deleted somebody off of Facebook today because he's called me 3 times and I've never even responded to him one time. And he just started Facebook like message calling me. And I was like, dude, I don't even know you. So it just, you can burn bridges really quickly and people don't want to see that. So it's just really important that it's not like getting into these rooms isn't there to sell. You
No.
really are paying for the knowledge and to accelerate whatever you're trying to work on. And so when you step back and going back to your earlier point, you realize this is what is important to me. This is what I'm trying to take in my own next steps for my journey, my business, my professional career, my skill sets, whatever. Who's in the room that can teach me that? Because again, most of these things you can pay as long as you want to be a member. You're not locked in for life. And so it's like you can try out one group. And if you learn whatever you've tried to learn, you can leave and go to another one if you really wanted to. But if you find the right group, more often than not, you're going to develop these really long, deep relationships where people that are of similar mindset want to help you get to where you're going. You just have to sometimes sift through a lot of people to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other point to keep in mind too is you might try a bunch of groups and you might go, this is an amazing group, but it's not the right group for me right now. And so, not necessarily dismissing people, but also strategically looking, what do I need right now? What do I have to give back to certain groups? And when is the right time to engage with these groups? And you may go in and out of certain groups over the course of your relationship with them, or it might be a one and done. I think too often people go, oh, I'm not getting what I need right now. Therefore, that's completely off the table.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just not right now.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. I think that's I think people need to try for themselves. I do also see a lot of people hold on to rooms just in hopes they're going to learn something. I don't want to, I consume a lot of stuff. So what I would say, like a lot of material. So what I would say is, there is the find the people that you truly want to learn for. Andy Frisella says this all the time, which is totally true, which is like, don't follow people that haven't built anything. Go to the First Form headquarters, go, shake some hands, whatever you got to do to verify that that person is real. Look at their track record because it's really easy. I was actually complaining to you earlier this week about how many people, you just go on every course on YouTube and it's like, I made $500,000 in 48 hours by launching this model. And it's like, it's not a reality, but it's very distracting. And so, you have to be focused and very intentional of this person has a life or a skill set or has something that I want to figure out how to replicate in my own capacity and then follow that, consume all of what that person has done in their journey, not just where they're at today, because those breadcrumbs will be there. People do share openly now, but you have to be very, very focused on the people that you want to follow. You can't just follow everybody because you're going to get a lot of BS and a lot of nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I was laughing. I think it was this week or last week, and Andy had on this podcast and talked a couple times about the number of businesses that he had started before S2. And I was like, how did I not know this? That you actually started like 3 or 4 other businesses. And I've been listening to him, good Lord, for like 8 or 9 years. And so I think that was a good lesson for me is sometimes, and maybe you said it before, but sometimes you filter information because it's not relevant to you in the moment. And other times is you have to invest a long time in relationships that are mutually beneficial or that you are wanting to follow and the footsteps of somebody. And maybe you can't quite give back yet, but it could take a very long time to actually glean all of the helpful information that they have to offer. It's not like it comes served up on a platter on day one and it's like, here's everything you need to know about me. And so also discerning and understanding that just like consistency and changing habits requires hard work and faith in the results. So does relationships that are built in these rooms.
No, 100%. And that's exactly why I wanted to talk about this today, because I see, and I have fallen guilty of this as well, right? You have big ambitions, you have big dreams for yourself, and you're like, "Oh, I just got to do these three things, and wow, I can make, $100,000 in 24 hours by just following this process." Like, and so much of it is BS. And the people that have been through, and I think this is the really key point, when you get into the right rooms and you are intentional about what you're trying to learn, meaning you're focused, you have a perspective that you're trying to gain, you're willing and open to have the right conversations, and then you're willing to spend the time to get through all the people in the room to find your tribe, because everybody that's in there is going through the same thing. You're not going to find your people right away. So it's kind of like dating. You got to try a couple of people on for size in addition to the room. So it takes a little bit. But then right behind that, those deep relationships, people will start to open up and they will help you as much as they possibly can. Going all the way back to your earlier point in this video, when people feel like they're not worthy of being in there, if you just own that and you own that in front of the right people, the right people have been through it. They've been there too. They've said, "Hey, I've had to fake it until I make it," right? Like, I've put in 26 years or 30 years or whatever it is, and I've grown my business over time. They understand those hardships. They won't hold it against you. It's the people that do hold it against you that probably haven't done anything relevant, or at least are not in your tribe. And there's a very clear distinction, even when you get into those rooms.
Yeah. I would say the third option there is, or you pretend that you know everything and people can smell out that you haven't done the work that you said you've done.
Yeah.
And so always, no matter if you're starting in a lower room or you've worked your way up, be honest and authentic with who you are, where you've been and what your experience is, because the higher you go in the rooms and the more guarded people are, they want to know that you're there and you're honest and there for the betterment of everybody, not just self-serving to take from that.
100%. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I love this conversation. It's real time. I think it's something that people need to hear and really talk about the nitty gritty stuff. So appreciate the insights. Anything else?
I think that's it. And I can't wait till our next one.
All right. See you next week.
All right. Thank